How
I'm
are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so grateful, truly.
Yeah, of course. I was looking forward to this. I know we've been trying to make it happen for a long time, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
glad that we finally got it on the calendar and are able to
I
introduce
know.
you to our little community and to the world, and um, so everyone can get to know you better too and learn about your story.
Totally. Yay. I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And where are you in Texas today?
What is it?
Are you in Texas right
Yes,
now?
I'm currently in Livingston, Texas on my farm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know we're going to get into that in terms of your retreat offering and what you're doing. But
Yeah,
uh, yeah,
totally. Yeah. I'm wondering if my head is too cut off. Let me let me
I
look.
think
Or am I fine?
yeah, you're okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
you're right on. You're good.
good.
Okay.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
All right. Well,
amazing.
why don't we dive into it? Okay, if that works for you, just we'll kick things off. Um, so the way I tend to like to do these things is just kind of keeping it informal, really loosely structured. It's just an opportunity for the Awakenpedia community and just whoever's tuning in here live to get to know you, your story, your offerings, um, why you do it, and what you do. And if you have any type of mission or intent that's driving your work.
Yeah.
So uh, with that, let's just kick things off by hearing a bit about you. And if you could tell us, a bit about your awakening journey thus far and how it's led you to where you are now.
Totally. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I got sober over 9 months, or sorry, 9 years ago. So like nine years and like 4 months or so ago. And yeah, before sobriety, I was living a pretty wild life. I was pursuing an acting career in Los Angeles, and that wasn't panning out in the way that I wanted it to. And I was using drugs, alcohol, and often I say men to numb, my pain within myself. And so I hit several rock bottoms, and I decided there had to be more. I just couldn't keep doing what I was doing. It wasn't working. I was either going to die, um, you know, not personally remove myself from the world, or I was going to go to jail. So I decided that it was necessary for me to create to make some form of a change in my life. And so I checked myself into rehab, and I went to rehab. I did that whole thing, and I lived in a sober living for like 2 years, and that was really pivotal, monumental. It certainly gave me the ability to remove what I thought was the problem, which was drug alcohol. But pretty quickly, I recognized that actually that was just a symptom of a much deeper issue, of a much deeper dis-ease and disharmony within me. And it took me several years of darkness, even within sobriety, to realize, like, wow, there's something deeper here. And I didn't figure it out immediately. It took me a long, long time. And I mean, I'm still in the process of unwinding, unraveling a lot of the stories that have kept me, in this place of suffering, But yeah, to answer your question, it started about 9.5 years ago when I checked myself into rehab. And my life has radically transformed since then. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know, when we first talked, part of how related on this journey is through addiction, through numbing with substance and various hedonistic behaviors that were really just attempts to escape facing reality, right? Facing the now and dealing with these trapped energies that were keeping us suppressed and anchored down. Um, and for me, addiction was my pathway to awakening, and being able to use and transmute addiction into power is such an incredible story. truly is an inspiration. 9.5 years. That I guess we'll have to have the 10-year celebration, right? That's a big one.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to get there. And, I don't really practice going to meetings any longer. AA totally served a purpose, like rehab, all of the things that I learned while I was there totally served a purpose. And I'm so grateful. And it was the stepping stone for me to get to where I currently am. I feel like I practiced some form of what was taught in the rooms. The Big Book is such a wonderful book, I think, for anyone and everyone, truly. But yeah, so I don't necessarily, go to the rooms much. But it's, AA is near and dear to my heart, simply because that was the beginning. That was where I started, and my life, like I said, has transformed radically as a result of like going in those rooms and being so loved and so supported and so cared for the amount of time that I was going to the rooms. Anyway, I don't know why I shared that. I guess you mentioned let's celebrate the 10-year mark, and they do that in AA, right? In the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. But yeah, I could still celebrate even if I'm not actively.
And you should. It's important to celebrate the milestones along this journey, right? It's how we enjoy it along the way. But I'm emphasizing this, whatever you want to use the words, just substance use, addiction, that pathway to waking up, because similar to the value system in AA, so much of this awakening journey is about surrender and letting go of your will, your control, your need to, control what happens, and surrendering it to the higher power, to the will of God, or however you define that.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, I'm curious to just perhaps as a way to bridge this now, through this journey you've been on over the past decade of transformation, can you speak to just how that kind of led into what you do now? Because you offer such an incredible suite of services that spans across so many modalities, from breathwork to yoga, to cacao, and various ceremonies, retreat, right, with your new farm, and yoga, and stem cell activation. And I just want to hear about all the different things you do, and speak to those things for a few minutes if you can.
Of course. Yeah. So, like I said, like 5 years into sobriety, I still, I found myself in a dark place. I was basically doing sober life, to my own devices. I think that's how you say it. Like I was left to my own devices, like just doing it my way. And I recognized, like, okay, there's still something that's deeply wrong here. Like I just don't feel well. And I remember often telling myself then, like, I didn't get sober to feel miserable. Something's got to give, something's got to shift. Like, what is it? And so I started recognizing that I was the common denominator in all of my experiences. And around the 5-year markers, I started looking in the mirror and asking myself, well, what is it that I'm like, how am I contributing to my experience that is creating my external experience? And so slowly things started to shift. I started shifting perspective, and I started really seeing the good in all of the quote unquote challenging experiences, and like asking myself, and like, what is here for me, instead of why is this happening to me? Like, what is here for me? And through those questions, I guess I started asking myself better questions. I started seeking more. I started meeting people. Like, people just started coming into my existence that they were aromatherapists or yoga. Just I started doing more yoga around this time. I've been practicing yoga for a long, long time, but around this time I started deepening into my yoga practice, and then breath work landed on my lap at some point in like 2017, and I was like, wow, there's something to this, but I didn't really start exploring it deeply until a few years later. So when that shift happened within me, it's almost as if the universe started to conspire to bring me places and things and experiences that were aligning with that new perspective, those new perspectives I had within myself. And so it didn't happen overnight. It's been like, you know, one human entering or one experience entering. And so everything that I offer has been part of my personal journey, has been what's helped me throughout my journey to help me elevate and shift perspectives and expand, you know, my mind and purify my body. And I believe ultimately has led me to align to what I believe is my soul's deepest calling, which is to share that transformation is possible. You know, I was in the pits of hell, literally, like I romanced suicide all the time, and I just didn't want to be here any longer. And so for me to have transformed those dark thoughts into now living, I mean, of course, I still have challenges, but I know how to get through them. And I actually am excited about them because I know that I get to expand and I get to learn and I get to deepen within myself and I get to break open even more. And I believe that the more we break open, the deeper we get into our heart, you know, which is what I believe the world needs, you know, like living from a place of love rather than a place of fear. And so, anyway, I don't know if that answers your question, but basically everything that I offer has been what's helped me on my journey. And so, yeah, a couple of years ago, I had this vision that I had to buy land and create a little retreat space. And so it happened by the grace of God. It happened. I bought 5 acres in Livingston, Texas. And I'm currently finishing my build here. So the wellness retreat space is probably going to be done right before, like maybe a day or two before the actual retreat experience is supposed to happen. But yeah, we're building here a little small wellness retreat space, and I'll be hosting my own retreats here, and or inviting practitioners like yourself or practitioners in the Awakenpedia, you know, community or other practitioners to come and share their medicine here, you know. Yeah, I think the world needs us, you know, lit up humans to share, you know, to share, to guide, and to remind others that haven't fully recognized that they are their own medicine, you know, to really remind, I think we're here to remind people that we are our own medicine, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. I mean, your journey is really inspiring to me, as mentioned, with the parallels of or stories, but just to be able to showcase and serve as an example to the world about the possibility for genuine transformation and to be able to rise out of hell into heaven, out of the ego into truth.
Yes. Yeah. Because that's,
you know,
it's ultimately what it is. I mean, I know you're big on the Course in Miracles, and that's A Course in Miracles actually came into my life as well a few years ago. And I mean, the opening statement was just like, I had this huge aha moment, you know, and if there's really only love and fear, then anything that's of fear isn't real. It's just of the mortal mind, you know, and so essentially most of us are living in this total illusion. You know, we're not really in truth, like we're not really living from a truthful place. And it's not to like condemn anyone or judge anything, or I mean, I forget all the time too, you know, but it's so revealing and it untethers people, places, and things. I can't be mad at other humans or other things or places or whatever, because you know, they're also operating from that place of illusion. You know what I mean?
Right.
And also too, if you incorporate the principle, you know, the Hermetic principle, the principle of correspondence, as above, so below, you know, you recognize too that my internal reality is creating my external. So where do I need to create shifts within myself, you know, to experience a different experience outside of myself, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think I
This is
cut you
why
off. I'm so sorry.
no, you didn't. You didn't. You're lighting me up on the inside, because this is why we resonated so well, and why I know that this partnership partnership came together, because we see the world so similarly, and we had to go through hell to get here, to be able to see it. And it's just, so much of the world is heading in this direction of vision, of coming into clarity, coming out of their own illusions. And we need people like yourself to be able to help guide and facilitate those journeys, right? And that's what this is all about. And that's why everyone at Awakenpedia is going to come live on your wellness farm, and we're all just going to hang out there for the rest of our lives.
Please do. Honestly, like, I know this project is bigger. It's really, truly bigger than me. I mean, I have so many animals. I have so many goats, and I have so many chickens, and there's the land to tend to, and then, the business part of it that I'm trying to create. So honestly, anybody out there that's listening that wants to come on over, like, let's work something out. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, living in community would be beautiful.
Yeah. And I actually genuinely do see that as the future of Awakenpedia. So we'll keep it in mind for us to think about. But you may need to get a few more acres. We'll look into it.
My neighbor might be selling, so I don't know. It's possible.
Okay.
Cool.
Good. We're setting the intention. We'll manifest it. And,
yeah.
We'll make the 2025 thing. We'll put it around there.
Okay.
Well, can you talk a little bit about, now I know a lot of people are familiar with practices that are very common, like breathwork, yoga, but stem cell activation was what caught my eye with you. And that stem cell, in my mind, I always saw it parallel to awakening and being able to harness that undifferentiated raw power, raw energy, as a way to then take it, influence it, and bring it into physical reality through intention, and that's the essence of manifestation. But I wanted, now I may have just spoke for you, but I wanted to ask you, is that how you see it too? What are you actually doing when you talk about stem cell activation, and how do you use that as a modality?
Yeah, well, so it's so stem cell. So I'm really big into physical health. So I believe whole health is obviously my body, spirit. Like, it's all interconnected, right? The mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the physical, the energetics, right? And so, but a few years ago, when around the 5-year sober mark, when things were really falling apart for me, I began with physical health. So I started changing the way that I ate, and I started really looking at, I was putting in my body, what I was putting in my skin. And so anyway, so physical health to me is like really, really important. So I'm always looking for things to essentially enhance my physical health, right? And so I stumbled upon these stem cell activation patches, which I found to be really, really cool, this technology. And I'm a partner with them, and I use them daily, and there's various different patches, but essentially we're using our own infrared energy. So these patches, you put one, like, let's say on your arm, and it catches your own infrared energy, and then it sends it back into your own skin to penetrate into your cells. And so it is regenerating your stem cells. So yeah, I've just found that it's just a nice tool, to just enhance my overall health. So that's what the stem cell activation is. And so I share it with family, with clients. If they're interested in ever trying, I could definitely send people more information on them. But yeah, I found it to be really, because I'm very much holistic, and I don't really like taking things that aren't of nature. And so I loved the idea that this patch it captures my own energy and sends it back into my body, so I found that to be fascinating. Yeah. And there's so many testimonials of people like shifting in so many different areas, you know, and I don't want to make any claims here, but there's a lot of testimonials out there on these amazing little patches. They're little small circles. They look like little stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing and providing more context there. You know, when I started reading Dr. Joe Dispenza and hearing about, you know, the power of the mind, the power of belief, being able to, you know, thoughts can make you sick, they can make you healthy, and being able to essentially via the placebo effect, which is often associated with stem cell activation as a way to quite literally heal yourself. And you know, being able to make that an intentional process. Because stem cells, for those who don't know, right, they are able to, it's an undifferentiated cell, which then can come into differentiation, whether that's a heart cell or an arm cell or an eye cell, whatever, it can become anything.
Yeah.
And that's largely, you know, what we're doing with spirituality and manifestation. We're taking something that we'd like to intend to happen and making it happen by bringing it into existence, into the physical reality.
Yeah.
So I think I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I just thought it was really, really unique. And I was like, oh, that's cool that you offer that as part of your total package. Because one, I haven't really seen many other providers do that, but it also just makes so much intuitive sense as a part of the total health, you know, kind of evaluation.
Yeah. I think because I think it's necessary to really look at all of the areas, you know. How is the mind, right? Like, so I went to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and where I got my health coaching certification from, and one of the things that I found was really profound, even though I kind of already knew it, but I loved the way that it was presented, and essentially it was that, you know, oftentimes we focus on what is on our plate, like what we're putting in our bodies, what we're eating, blah blah blah. But actually, at this, what we were taught in my education was that, you know, actually that's secondary. The primary food is, you know, what is the quality of your relationships? You know, what is your social life like? Are you connecting with other humans? Are you satisfied with your career? Do you feel you have meaning and purpose? Are you experiencing joy and play, you know, within yourself, outside of yourself, in your community, etc.? And so it's a whole 12, you know, pie chart. And so I was able to see, like, okay, where am I struggling in these areas? And so anyway, what was taught was that oftentimes our whole health actually comes from the quality of what's in that pie chart versus what we're just putting on our food. I'm sorry, on our plate, you know? And so sometimes, you know, like, okay, like the stress in our life that's creating whatever inflammation in our body can be associated with that relationship that you're potentially not allowing yourself to let go of for fear of love being, you know, you're not going to be loved again or whatever it is. And so you're creating you're in a stressful environment, but you believe maybe it's something else, but potentially it could be the relationships in your life, or maybe you're not allowing yourselves to experience love and joy and care in your community. And it's been studied that loneliness creates, you know, the same effects as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. You know, it creates diabetes and hypertension and you know, all kinds of imbalances in the body. And so I lost my train of thought, but the point is that looking at our environment, our community, are we experiencing joy and pleasure and yada yada, and from that space we create whole health, I believe.
Yeah, it's a comprehensive. Everything is a consideration, right? And it really just all ties into the mind, the body, the soul, and being this interconnected ecosystem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, we touched on the modalities that you kind of work with throughout your various offerings and the practices, but I'd like to know, just can you tie that into what a session is like with you and working with you as a health coach, and how you kind of package those, and how then these modalities, whether it's breathwork or yoga or stem cell activation maybe, or whatever, modalities you're using, how that, a single session, a single client session, or if you do group sessions at all, just what that looks like in practice.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it would be totally dependent on what, obviously, like let's say a client comes to me and is feeling super emotionally distressed. We could do breath work, like for me, breath work is an amazing practice to expel any stagnation in the body and to really give ourselves the ability and opportunity to go within ourselves and sense into our body. Like I said, we are our own medicine, and the body has so much wisdom, and it's constantly informing us. It's constantly informing us. So, I could guide that particular individual in a single session through a breath work session. I would definitely, that's my primary go-to for any type of like, someone's feeling uncertain or unclear or grief, I like to guide them through a breathwork session. And usually one breathwork session really allows for the release of a lot of energy, but obviously I definitely recommend a consistent breathwork practice. But if someone's coming to me that, is in desire of creating some big shifts in their lives, they're not eating well, they have poor habits, they're not sleeping well, they're disconnected from themselves, from their hearts, they're feeling burnt out, dissatisfied, maybe using people, places, and things outside of themselves to escape essentially from what's really within them. Then we'll probably, I'd like to work with them for a longer period of time, and I would throw in all the different modalities, because I believe what's necessary is to get to get back to the basic, like what is at the foundation, what's at the root of all of it, right? Like I want to get to the root of all of that. And usually well, in my experience anyway, I found that a lot of my distress and my dis-ease and my disharmony was because I didn't feel safe in my body. I didn't have trust for myself. And so going back to like healing that root chakra, like how can I have security within myself? How can I feel safe within myself? And so it goes back to, nervous system regulation. And so working through like some nervous system practices, and really, working with the individual, and like, how can we create more safety? All acts. Sometimes it just takes a small little promise, that we make to ourselves, and that we consistently show up, to that small promise, let's say for a week, right? And at the end of the week, that small promise you committed to it, and you train yourself to see that you can commit to doing whatever thing, and that you can trust yourself, and that it is safe to do, whatever thing, right? So going back to training the nervous system essentially to withstanding the capacity for challenge, if that makes sense. So anyway, this would take a little bit longer time, and would require some one-on-one sessions, and I would use breath work, and I would use yoga and cacao to open the heart, and just some meditation, and really getting to the root of what are the stories, what's the story, what are the narratives, and beginning there, and seeing how we can create some shifts to expand the mind and purify the body to then align us essentially within ourselves.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you're so in tune, and that's what I think what inspired me most about you when we first connected, and why I'm so excited about this partnership with you, is that you're and I described this in your partner profile too, but you wear so many hats, and you're able to integrate them all together in a way that just works. And so you're, and that's an art. It's artistry to be able to do that, and to hold all those balls, like a solar system that's just like moving around in cohesion. That's not easy to do, and to know how to apply which modality, which client, for what's going on with that person specifically, where they're blocked, right? That's a next level artistry for spiritual
Oh,
healing.
well, thank
So just
you.
feel really blessed to have you with us, to be able to share your expertise and, you know, the incredible range of offerings that you provide to the world.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really excited to share. And yeah, again, I mean, these are things that have just helped me really create shifts within myself. And so I'm really excited to be able to pass them along, you know, like I can't hoard the gifts because I heard early on in a story in AA about like this individual riding their bike, and the individual is going through villages, and goes through one village, and the families of the village are gifting him gifts, and so he's on this bike with all of these gifts, and then he goes to the next village and he's carrying even more gifts. He was gifted more stuff, and so then he goes to the other village, like he goes through another village, and they gift him more things, to the point where like he's falling over. He has too many gifts, and so he has to start giving the gifts away, you know. And so that really stuck with me, and so I think it's necessary to give what was so freely given to us, you know, like whatever gifts we've been given, like it's necessary to gift other humans. So I'm excited to share.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it's so true. I found, you know, the more you give, the more you get.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you know, so funny how that works, but it's true,
Yeah.
you know, and it really brings you back into gratitude too, and helps you emanate such strong power and selflessness, and just the energy frequency is so high when you're giving, and that becomes a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then life just starts working for you, and it's just so beautiful.
Mm.
But let me ask you this, because I know we'll be wrapping up in a few minutes here, but is there any advice or guidance you would like to impart? Oh,
I'm sorry.
there you go. You're good. Happens at least once.
Clearly, I don't have any advice. I'm just joking. Okay. I don't know what you have.
That happens like once every life, so it's okay. I'm surprised it didn't happen earlier. But yeah, is there any type of, you know, insight, guidance, wisdom you'd like to share with the world based on your unique dharma and, you know, your path here, going through your journey with, you know, coming out of acting in LA through substance use and addiction and rehab and transformation, and coming into this metamorphosis from caterpillar into butterfly. I know that there's probably so much you could share, and that will be part of what our partnership serves to unfold, which is your beautiful insight and healing wisdom to share with the world. But in this moment, is there something specific that comes to heart to share that you would perhaps would have served you early on your journey earlier, or anything at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's, like you said, there's tons. I could go so many different directions here. I think what's really been really big currently in my personal life that, that has been a great teacher is the unionization of the feminine and masculine energetics within the self, and how it's necessary to really have a healthy relationship with the feminine within us and the masculine within us. And only then will we see feminine and masculine, you know, avatars outside of ourselves reflect that internal, you know, again, as within so without, you know, like as above so below. So if there, let me just share an example. For example, like boundaries. I've struggled with boundaries for the majority of my existence. You know, I was bullied as a kid, and I have become, or I was a people pleaser for a very long time because of that fear of not being liked. And so I wanted everybody to love me. And so I was doing anything and everything to to get that love, right? And so, but it's obviously exhausting, and it's necessary to have boundaries. It's necessary to honor the self. If you are a no, honor that, right? And so, because what happens is that we start seeing in the external world again people that don't honor our boundaries. And so we can't be mad at the people outside of us or the things outside of us that aren't honoring our boundaries, because we don't honor them within ourselves, you know. So the masculine energetic within the self is the one that sets the container, is the parameter, is the, you know, the structure, right? So the masculine within me would be the energy that would create those boundaries and would be firm in the boundaries, and that would would be what's needed. Of, like, I can create boundaries all day, but if I'm not honoring them, then my masculine is not fully like what is the word, like fully is strong in that, you know, in that need for that boundary. I don't know if I'm making sense here. So I'm just finding that, you know, even if I start setting boundaries and I don't honor them, then guess what? I'm going to see a person, place, or thing that wants to maybe honor my boundaries, but isn't going to fully honor my boundaries, because I am not doing it for myself within myself. So it's necessary to heal that energetic, the masculine energetic within the self and the feminine energetic within the self. And the feminine is, you know, is all about like being in flow and, you know, being the energy. And but it's not always just about like, oh, let's just go with the flow and let me just do whatever I want whenever I want. Like, no, the masculine within me has to create boundaries for that part of me that wants to just like, anyway. I don't want to make it a whole long spiel thing, but I think what I'm trying to say here is that it's necessary to ask ourselves, you know, some clear questions about what's happening within us that's creating our external reality. And from that place, we can't hold other humans responsible. We come to recognize that we are responsible. We take radical responsibility, and we could then create shifts within ourselves from that place of awareness where we see like where it is that we're maybe falling short within ourselves for ourselves. And so, yeah, everything is an external reflection of our internal. We are human projectors, you know, and if we could just recognize that, then potentially it'd be easier for us to create some shifts, you know, for us outside of ourselves.
Yes, 100%. And that's what we're doing here with the Wikipedia and the, you know, collection of all of these beautiful partnerships that are underway. We're all on the same team, serving the same mission, which is transmuting fear into love. We're taking the fragmentations that are all in the different forms and all the different labels and things and bringing it all together into oneness.
Yeah.
And, you know, fear exists in division and separation. And when we come into unity, as you pointed to, and we unify the masculine with the feminine, and we transcend gender, we transcend the polarity into the non-polarity, transcending duality to come into non-duality. That's peace. You know, that breeds equanimity, complete balance and stability. And that's how. Yeah. That's how we can navigate storms. It's how we navigate hardships and adversities. And it's how we're able to see beyond just the microcosm that's in front of us in that moment. And we don't get lost in it. We can retain the stability that indwells within, that is infinite and eternal. And it's who we all are. Yes. It's the essence that we all are. And that's that light, that shining light that I know you feel and see. And I see it in you, and I feel it in you too. And it's just so strong and so beautiful. And to be able to have that opportunity to share it, right, with the world, to inspire it and catalyze it within others. I mean, it's such a gift and such a blessing to be able to live this life. And I know you know this after going through hell, right? After being in the dark for so long,
Yeah.
to be able to be of service is to do God's work, whatever you want to call it. It's so refreshing. It's so enlivening. So
It's such an honor. It's such a gift. It really is. Like whenever I start getting overwhelmed here on my farm, I'm like, I get to do this. Like what a gift that I get to do this, and do God's work, like you said, and I do. One other thing came to mind. You mentioned love, and yes, like I really do believe that we're moving into our hearts. We are deepening within ourselves, and I think that it's necessary to live from a place of love, versus from the mind, like you had mentioned earlier, from a place of fear. And yeah, I think our hearts are our greatest technology, and it allows for all kinds of knowings and information, and when we're deeply connected within ourselves, to our hearts. And so anyway, I believe love, care, and presence is what is going to save the world, heal the world. And so I'm here to share my love, my care, and my absolute presence with humanity.
amen, amen. That was beautiful. I like that too. Our greatest technology is our hearts. I haven't heard that, considered it, but that makes a lot of sense. Well, awesome. We'll wrap up with this. I know that you're getting ready to launch your wellness retreat, right, on the farm. When is the actual date for that? The start date for that?
Yeah,
For
so
this
the
first.
program, yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. The programming all day the second, Saturday the second, and all day Sunday, but I'm allowing people that are coming from out of town to travel in on the first, so one day before the event, so a Friday the first, and then travel out Monday the fourth. So you're not like, you just had an awesome weekend and now you're gonna have to rush out of here. Like, no, you can leave slowly and peacefully. And so so I have several tickets available, options available. So if you wanted to stay on the farm, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, if you're local in the Houston area, Dallas area, San Antonio area, Austin area, you could do either a Saturday, one wellness day pass, or you could do the whole, Saturday and Sunday. There's several options. The link is in my bio if y'all are interested in learning more, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And I did want to extend a 20% to the Awakenpedia community. So um, the code is going to be Awaken 20. So I don't know where I should put that, or anyway, but for the Awakenpedia community, Awaken 20, I'm offering that to the community here. Yeah.
Yes. I saw that, and thank you so much for that generosity.
Yeah.
Everyone who's tuning in the Wikipedia community, you can read more about this in Mayra's partner profile, which has her bio, booking links to learn more about the retreats and all of her offerings, and the discount codes that she's offering there too. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you so much. This is I'm really jazzed up about this partnership with you. I know it's just the beginning for us, working together, growing together, healing together. And it's just the beginning for the entire world going on this awakening journey, So we're in this together now, and let's see how the universe wants it to unfold. But I know it's only blessings.
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. I love everything that you're doing. It's so beautiful that you've created this amazing platform with so many amazing practitioners and medicine people and healers, etc. And so thank you for stepping into your mission and really leading with force. And it's so beautiful to witness. Thank you for sharing your heart, your love, your care, and your presence. It's so needed. And I'm just really excited, really looking forward to what we create together, and excited to have you here on the farm. Anytime.
Yeah. Thank you. I will be there. I promise you, I will be there one day.
Okay.
I don't know what day, but I'm going to be there. So
Perfect.
I look forward to that and look forward for
Yeah.
everything to come with it. So, all right.
Yeah.
We'll
Well,
wrap it up.
thank you, love. Mwah, mwah. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.